Virtuosity is here on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, released by Vinegar Syndrome. It can be found as a limited Ultra edition available at the Vinegar Syndrome website, as well as a standard release available at your online retailers. The mid-90s were an interesting time when it comes to sci-fi films. The industry wanted to lean towards what they perceived as the future in technology, and Virtuosity is one of those movies. This film feels like the next step from The Lawnmower Man from 1992, and it serves as a precursor of sorts to The Matrix in 1999. I've always enjoyed the film, and I still maintain it's an underrated gem. While Denzel Washington is great in his role, it's really Russell Crowe as Sid 6.7 that completely steals the show here. The then special effects I feel still hold up relatively well. The use of AI as a plot device is of course more relevant today than ever, but once again it's Russell Crowe that makes such a compelling villain possible in this film. I definitely recommend this movie for those that are into more 90s sci-fi. I do believe it's one that most will find entertainment in. Virtuosity on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray has an aspect ratio of 239:1 with native 4K resolution, and it supports both HDR10 and Dolby Vision. For purposes of this review, I will be discussing the Dolby Vision transfer. According to Vinegar Syndrome, Virtuosity on 4K's transfer is newly scanned and restored from its 35mm original camera negative. The source to my eyes was clean, very minor speckling here and there, but nothing egregious overall. Grain is finely layered, and I didn't notice any obvious management. As per usual, Vinegar Syndrome's disc encode is fairly strong, with bit rates hovering in the upper 70s or 80s for much of the duration. I had watched Virtuosity on Blu-ray not too long before the 4K's announcement, so that disc's transfer was still relatively fresh in my head. When I actually went back to it to compare, image clarity was the first thing that stood out with this new edition. Textures looked marvelous across the board. Close-ups in particular yielded solid gains, at least in regard to live elements. It's when we see some of the early computer-generated effects, such as when Sid gloms onto glass to heal himself, that those instances look a little more wonky now that they're in 4K. It's distracting a bit, yes, but thankfully those moments are used sparingly. As a whole, the resolution and textures bump certainly benefits here. Supporting both HDR and Dolby Vision, the visual enhancements also prove to be favorable. Primaries are emboldened very nicely. The opening sequence inside the VR world has some pleasing visuals that clearly benefit from the grading. There are numerous instances in the rest of the film that also give the palette some solid reinforcement. Skin tones tend to run a little on the warm side, and whites also show some good stability. As for black levels, everything is well in this area. Night scenes and dark interiors are properly deep, and shadow detail is also on point with no signs of crush. Virtuosity on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray supports a DTS 5.1 audio as well as a 2.0 stereo. More or less, this appears to be a direct port from the Blu-ray's audio track. I wasn't able to find anything from Vinegar Syndrome to suggest otherwise. With that said, the overall experience is an enjoyable one. The film utilizes some clever audio cues which give the listener plenty to digest. Action scenes, of course, are the highlight. Bullets freely whiz by your ear, the occasional trickle of ambience, and music all make good use of the surround environment. In-film dialogue sounds great with no issues to report. As for the LFE, it brings a fair bit of heft in its delivery. Explosions, crashes, heavy gunfire bring the rumble, though it tends to stay in its lane and doesn't come off too aggressive. I don't recall the Blu-ray edition having much in the way of extra content, so what Vinegar Syndrome has provided is all new. There's a sit-down interview with the film's director, which runs just under 15 minutes, as well as another with the film's producer. Another featurette, a virtual reunion, runs about 40 minutes, and those featured talk about the tech within the film. Virtuosity's writer Eric Berndt discusses the story in an 18-minute short, and a featurette with the casting director is also included. There are 2 audio commentary tracks available, one with the director and one with a film historian. For the picture quality, I'm going to give Virtuosity on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray an A. Vinegar Syndrome continues to be a contender for one of the best labels putting out physical media. The transfer is excellent with great image clarity and a solid application of Dolby Vision. I think most will be very pleased with how this turned out. For the audio, I scored it an A-. If you have the Blu-ray, you've certainly heard this audio track before. There are some fun moments in the sound design that make full use of the surround environment. It's a very good track from start to finish. That being said, an Atmos upgrade I think would have been most welcome. And for the extras, I graded them an A. It's good to see new bonus content included for this underrated 90s sci-fi flick, and I think what's presented will satisfy most in this area. I know it's probably way too much to expect something new from Denzel or Russell Crowe, but what is here I think scratches the itch for bonus materials. So that is my review of Virtuosity on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome. If you're interested in picking up a copy for yourself, I will leave a direct link in the comments section. But if you have the disc already, let me know your thoughts down below. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.